Wake and Bake, Matty Ice, yada yada yada. Okay, so this week I'm going to talk about some different stuff, a bunch of stuff. I guess I should say not different, just like a lot of stuff. Initially, when I started doing the first podcast, I just started like talking a whole bunch about a fight that I thought was somewhat interesting. I don't know, but my point is, this week, I'm actually going to go against what I initially thought I was going to do. I'm going to talk about a bunch of different stuff. I'm going to start with NBA just because I think some of the people listening at least like NBA a little bit. I can get through it. It's just the All-Star weekend. Why not? It's more important than the other things. Wrestling hasn't been on in a few days. It doesn't make sense for me to start talking about it, but I will, and I'm also going to talk about Black Panther. I'm going to talk about a bunch of stuff. It's mostly going to be sports. In the end, I'm just going to talk about Black Panther and Chris Rock for a little bit. I don't know if it's going to lead to anything. People are probably going to be assholes about it, who I know at work and whatnot, but it doesn't matter. Just going to see what people think, how many people give me positive or negative feedback. Can't even rely on feedback from these people. Okay, anyways, so I'm going to start with the NBA All-Star Saturday. It's a great week. I think it's probably my favorite day. The main reason is I actually like the skills competition a lot. I have no idea why. The skills competition is my favorite part. It just shows so much young talent, see what they can do on the court. This year there was Joel Embiid. There was who ended up winning was, spoiler alert, Spencer Dinwiddie, if you haven't seen it. Spencer Dinwiddie, yes, he's good. He's had I'm always bringing up how he has a great assist to turnover ratio. I think that's impressive for a young guy to have. I think it's something that you start to do when you're older, whatever. Anyways, it was great. He was up against Lauri Markkanen in the end. And the way it works is bigs versus littles. I thought that was a great idea. Bigs versus littles is really interesting to me because I think that my dog and my cat are making so much noise. Okay. Bigs versus littles in the end. So it's like instead of east-west, whatever. I think Markkanen actually ended up beating Embiid. Oh, he did, and it was hilarious because Embiid didn't make a good chest pass. Some of the bigs have problems with that bit. It's like a lot of things that they have to do, but if you're not familiar with it, but chest pass is a part of it, and it's kind of the toughest part. Anyways, he has a problem with it the first time when he wins the first round against whoever. Moves on to Markkanen. Markkanen, nails it. He doesn't, and he kind of fluidly picks up another ball and kind of just spins it and just kind of keeps running. And it made it more dramatic, which was great. And it seemed like he obviously had done it on purpose just as a gag, showing that these guys kind of don't take it very seriously. Anyways, I like the skills competition. I feel like nobody talks about it. I feel like it's really interesting and kind of funny. Anyways, young talent ends up showcasing. Nobody talks about it, but it's great. Obviously, moving on from that, the three-point shootout is always like the second. It's always a runner-up to the dunk contest, but it's very fun. This year, another, the young player that's on a team that loses all the time. Wins again. Devin Booker actually this year, but just like Spencer Dinwiddie won the previous competition. Now Devin Booker, another player on a losing team, ends up winning, and again showcase of a young talent that some people might not be aware of. I have an article pulled up by some SB Nation NBA on Twitter, whatever. Talking about how it's a record-breaking. I'm guessing because he scored 28. I don't know if 28 hasn't been scored or in a long time, but some kind of a record-breaking deal. Yeah, that's my analysis. Some kind of a record breaker for Devin Booker. Yeah. So, don't exactly know how, but he broke some kind of... Okay. I think it was a Jason Capono record. So... that's why it's kind of hard to dig up. Anyways, move past three-point shootout. Okay, actually I'm not. I want to talk about NBA All-Star Weekend instead of just analyzing the hell out of what happened. People don't watch it. And I think that's interesting. Somebody walked up to me and a couple people at work when we were watching it, just casually on TV, just taking a peek at it. Why are you guys looking at the TV like something interesting's happening? It's are you kidding me? This is the coolest thing. NBA is a big sport, has an unbelievable amount of, I think, potential Hall of Fame players, really interesting, superstars, I guess. Something that the NFL like, is trying to do, like push the names of these superstars more. And it has a lot of superstars. I think big teams that have multiple superstars are becoming a big thing now. And the NBA is a big deal right now. It's doing really, really well. And I think that All-Star Weekend should kind of reflect that. I think a reason people don't like it is it doesn't have any significance. It doesn't have any significance at all. Like, I mean, other than just pure entertainment on the surface. It doesn't have anything deeper. It doesn't have anything important to it. It doesn't have any thing that matters in the end. And I have a way to fix it. It's probably been something people have brought up. I don't know. I don't remember anybody that I've ever listened to, like, sports analyst or whatever, talk show guy ever talk about it. Nobody's ever brought it up to me. But why don't you just, like, every time a player wins for a team, in a skills competition for the All-Star game, whatever, I don't care. Give that team like a amount of lottery balls added or whatever added to the lottery. Right? That's what you should do. Like that's just what I feel like. Because even if you're a team that like say you're Golden State Warriors and you're gonna have a late pick like every year for the next few years, but you have all these great skilled players. It's like you could actually do what the NBA wants to do and like kind of build dynasties almost. It could kind of be like a tricky way to do that. And if not, it could cause these players to like try really hard, because to me that would be the only. Okay, I actually like the product being pumped out. I don't think the issue is the players not trying hard. I think the 3-point shootout is fun. I think the dunk contest is fun. I think the All-Star game is fun. I think the celebrity, I think everything about it is really fun. But a lot of people don't think that it's fun at all. But I don't want the product to change. I want people to view it differently. It's almost like when I watch wrestling, people like the matches where a title is on the line. They think that it adds value to a match and makes you want to watch it. It's like, ooh, I'm not going to skip this match because the title's on the line. It's like the way I like in a different, entertainment venue or whatever avenue in sports. I feel like it's very important for every game to matter. I feel like people don't watch regular season NBA games because there's so many games, like in baseball and a lot of other sports too, that they just don't matter, because it doesn't matter until you're in the playoffs or you're very close to the playoffs where you're like, squeaking in or not. Those are the only matches or games that matter. So I think it's very important just to add draw to this awesome like show that you've already. I don't think you need to produce any better. I don't think you need to change how commentating is or anything. I don't think you need to change anything about the All-Star game or weekend rather, other than just the importance of it. Do something. I don't. It doesn't have to be like my idea, but do something. Anyways, the dunk contest is the last thing I'm going to talk about. I actually think it was a really good dunk contest. I called the person who was going to win, Donnie Mitchell. I just like him a lot. I think that the world likes him a lot. He just has like this kind of, I don't know, game-winning face. He kind of almost reminds me of like how people were receiving Dwayne Wade when he kind of burst onto the scene. People just like really liked him, like everything about him. And I just compared Donnie Mitchell to Dwayne Wade. Yeah. Okay, I drank too much. Anyways. Okay, so Donnie Mitchell ends up winning. I don't know. I think he deserved to win, but I just think like Dennis Smith had the best dunk, so it kind of hurts me. He had this crazy in between the legs, like off rotation. I don't know. Kid's awesome, and that's the best part about the dunk contest. It's not even just like people freaking out and like getting overly interested and very happy, but I don't know. It's this young guy who is going to be something, and it was very fitting that he did the Vince Carter dunk to kind of seal it. I think it was the game-winning dunk, really, or game-winning. It was the the point differential that he needed with that dunk. It was very close, slim. A lot of people, hate the how these people grade it, but it's like fucking Jennifer Lopez and Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's like they just pull like random people. This year was like Mark Wahlberg, Chris Rock. I love me some Chris Rock, but what the hell does he know about basketball and about dunking? And it's like DJ Khaled was a person everybody's gonna talk trash about. It's like they just wanted to give everybody good scores and You know what? Everybody was kind of nice to my boy Victor Oladipo. He didn't get his first dunk off. He put on this Black Panther mask, and I think that people don't understand. I think the Black Panther mask actually like took away his vision a little bit, and it like made the dunk more difficult to attempt. So I think it was supposed to be like, with this Black Panther mask, he dunked. So like a Cedric Ceballos, if you guys remember him, or Ceballos, however you pronounce it. I think it was a Phoenix Sun back in the early '90s. He dunked with the something like taped around his eyes, or some kind of bandana wrapped around his eyes, and some people were like, oh, he could see under it, but he just literally walked up to it and dunked. Like, he was like around the free throw line or 3-point line, just walks up to it and dunks, very calmly, just right under the basket, But it's amazing because he was blindfolded, and I think that was almost the kind of the idea. But nobody would know that this Black Panther mask, though as cheap as it looked, I bet it'd been difficult to see in. But you definitely couldn't see his eyes. But I don't know. It was an interesting idea. It was a prop idea. Talk about prop ideas. I can't not mention. Yes, I can't not mention this amazing, moment for Larry Nance Jr., where he's going to pay homage to his father. And he has this old man and this old lady come out, and I guess there's some kind of like magician act looking folk, and they end up putting this shower curtain around him and raise it above his head, and me and everybody watching are just laughing because he's obviously just taking off a jersey, and he has a jersey under it. And which is like, everybody does it nowadays. Donnie Mitchell had like layers and layers of jerseys on, but to keep paying homage to different, dunkers. But Larry Nance like takes forever. He takes like a good 20 seconds. I don't know. I didn't time it, but I just felt like I was like, just to drop some, boxer, brief, the very simple slide off, very smooth to slide off shorts. I was laughing. I don't know. It's not as funny when you just describe it on the podcast. But still, I thought that the antics were kind of silly. Everybody started hating on an antic. I'm just going to rant for a bit. Everybody started hating on an antic when I was watching it. And it was, it was a Donnie Mitchell dunk. And he has like Kevin Hart and a couple like random people, look like they're in his family maybe, come out. And they all kind of squat, and like Kevin Hart's already short, and it's like a little girl and a little boy, and they're squatting, and everybody's like, what? And it's kind of awesome. I don't know if he planned it this way, but the dunk he ends up doing, he like spreads his legs, and it's like somebody near me was like, he went for the width on the dunk. I'm like, that's so strange, but he totally did. Best dunk, I'm just summarize with a quick review. Best dunk was the Dennis Smith dunk, that I mentioned earlier. But my favorite dunk easily was Larry Nance's. He throws it off the backboard on like a gaining run, jumps off to catch it, and then when he catches it, he bounces it off the backboard again, and he catches it again, and then he dunks it. Dunk, yes. Yep, that's my sound effect of it. And it was amazing. I thought it was the coolest and most, simply genius. Simply genius. Simple and genius. But, so that's all my talk about, the All-Star weekends. I'm not going to talk about Friday night, just Saturday night. And now I can move on from the NBA. I think, I'm on, the 10 to 15 minute time span I would normally have on a certain topic. So if you don't like wrestling or anything about it at all, or, me mentioning the UFC or the Black Panther, then, turn off my podcast. But if you want to listen to me rant right now, I'm going to keep it on. First thing I'm going to talk about, because I just watched it just now, was Rose Gold versus the Usos. When I say the Usos, I mean Jimmy Uso and Naomi versus Rose Gold. Amazing. It was part of the mixed match challenge thing that's on the network that they do with Facebook. There's so much right with the mixed match special. It pushes talent without needing a belt. It's like whoever wins this, I'd almost like it. Like Asuka doesn't need to win because The Miz can take a pin. We all know this. And Braun Strowman doesn't have to win because a champion, which is just ridiculous, can take the pin. And that's amazing. That's Alexa Bliss, of course. But that's amazing to me. You know, you can have a really interesting dynamic with who goes over in this regard. And to me, I would have had Rose Gold go over. Rose Gold, it was it was absolutely, you have to watch it. I can't even describe it. It was hilarious. There's several minutes of just like talking and acting and cheekiness by Jimmy Uso and Naomi and Rose Gold. Rose Gold mainly leading it. Mandy Rose is just so amazing with like the verbiage that they're pushing in ring, like using dialogue and like talking, being disrespectful to your opponents in ring in an audible manner. This is like next level perfection in that regard. But yes, I love that it pushes talent without using a belt or tarnishing a belt. Some other things about that I in particular like is like it allows you to be kind of silly. It allows like Rusev to kind of push forward with the whole Rusev Day thing, and it allows for these guys to have some fun outside of wrestling. And even the commentators, like they're being far, especially Michael Cole, being far more comical, far more goofy, and it's a lot more fun to listen to. And actually talking about the Lana and Rusev bit, Lana ended up getting a pin on Bayley in their match, Bayley and Elias versus Lana and Rusev, and it was like supposed to be this big thing because Lana finally got a win. But to me, it was more that is Bayley, is she like gonna get, you know, taken down from whatever? I don't know. I guess she's not really in very high regard right now, so it's not like she's being pulled down from some pedestal of like elite women's wrestlers. She's kind of in a big pool right now, but it definitely solidified it to me. You know, if you don't know now that Bayley is not a top guy, she definitely isn't when she took Lana's first, gave Lana her first win. It wasn't very good. Something else about I noticed it in the Rose Gold versus Usos match, which again, amazing. You must watch it. It's one of my favorite things I've seen in a while. And again, I was drinking when I was watching, but it was still very good. But I noticed that they're using a lot more of that font thing, or what they're including some kind of like words to everything that somebody says. I feel like I can't speak right now, but yes, every time somebody they literally add these like word art subtitles to everything people say in the little Snapchat promos, and now even when people are coming to the ring. In the Rose Gold versus Usos match, another great component of it was that Daniel Bryan's the referee, and every time he says yes, it's like popping up on the screen. And I don't know, I don't really dislike it. I definitely don't like it though, so I'm kind of torn on. It doesn't really matter to me, but a lot of people I'm sure dislike it. But you know what? I like the idea that they're just doing stuff that's a little bit different. You know, just doing stuff that's different, because half their shtick right now is being stolen from New Japan. But I have a great idea. I don't know why I thought of it when I was watching Mixed Match Challenge, but I believe this, you know, at least one of the episodes I was watching recently came right before SmackDown, and it had me thinking about how SmackDown isn't like totally hated. The fans kind of still respond to it well, especially if the matches are good. And 205 Live is like really hated on. Like when I watch it, it disgusts me that 205 Live isn't respected, because it's, I mean, I know it wasn't very good, but it's like now it's so good, and like, just watch it. Like people who are quote unquote wrestling fans, just give it a shot right now, because it's not bad. Anyways, but it had me thinking, what could help SmackDown to be kind of what they want it to be, because it's still not what it should be. And maybe if it was, maybe it could help 205 Live. And at first I'm thinking about kind of odd ideas. Maybe put 205 Live in front of it. No. My main idea that I have is purposely make SmackDown second tier. Purposely don't have it as the number one show. Again, on purpose. Don't be upset that it's not a number one show. Don't attempt to make it a number one show. It's difficult enough to make Raw look like the number one show, because sometimes it just doesn't look very good. Sometimes it's just not very entertaining. And for SmackDown, it's like, okay, NXT, it is development and lower tier minor league on purpose, and it's the best. It allows pressure to be kind of taken off of some of these guys. So how do you do this? How do you purposely make it second tier? What do you mean, Frozen One? And what I mean is, you don't have Kevin Owens on it. You don't have Shinsuke Nakamura on it. You don't have AJ Styles on it. And I know, if you're listening to this and you know a lot about wrestling, or you listen pretty regularly, you're seeing Matt, Raw and SmackDown are getting ready to be combined. They're taking away the division of the roster because they're not getting what they want from Raw or SmackDown. That's just the bottom line. They want Raw to be amazing. They want SmackDown to be really good as well. Again, not as amazing as Raw, just really good. And we know that they don't want it to be as good as Raw. So they're playing with fire here. And the main reason I think that they might get burnt is that they could simply allow SmackDown to be a lower tier show. Not as much time spent on promos and entertainment and like the things that Braun Strowman does, like these massive, huge things that they do on Raw. But SmackDown can be amazing. It can be right between NXT and Raw. They can have guys like who are kind of, I wouldn't be totally opposed to the idea of like putting NXT, then SmackDown, then Raw. I wouldn't be totally opposed to that. But also guys that are coming, like, I think Chad Gable, Shelton Benjamin is a perfect team to have on SmackDown. I don't want to like just rip all the talent away. That's not my. But Elias is like an up and coming star. What he should be, in my opinion, on SmackDown. I think that Sami Zayn would have been a good idea to have on SmackDown and Kevin Owens on Raw like they had. But Sami Zayn, again, he's kind of an amazing wrestler. To have him over there, and if you're worried about what to do, then do give them an amazing talent and have him be the leader. Have a guy like Cesaro, who's amazing, be the leader. Then you could try, with my idea, you could try guys like Rusev, who the crowd absolutely adores, who would definitely fill, arenas up for SmackDown. Have him be a guy who's competing on a higher, and if you want to push Jinder Mahal, have Jinder Mahal do well. You see, that would allow them so much flexibility. Just adding all of the guys that are already top tier talents. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of quickly rattle off some names that they would definitely move over from one to the other. So I'm going to start with SmackDown to Raw, just to get off of the really talented guys. Get off, like I said, the Shinsuke. Get off the New Day. Get off the Usos. All these guys going to Raw. Get Randy Orton. You see, like, they don't have that much. They really don't have that much top talent. But and keep it like that. Keep like the Fashion Files and Aiden English and Rusev and the women's division. I think it's not too bad. But put Charlotte on Raw. It's not that bad. You can put Absolution on SmackDown, kind of a thing. And have Absolution versus Riot Squad. Would people hate that? Maybe they have some fun with. Maybe these guys would grow. I don't know. But that's my idea, is that you purposely have it. And then on Raw, you immediately have it fixed. You have all of that talent on Raw. All of the guys that are already over on Raw. So you can have a 3-hour show. You can have an additional mid-card title on it. You could fill up with promos and all kinds of crazy antics and whatever you want on Raw. And then on SmackDown, it's almost like NXT. You're getting some wrestling. You're getting some guys that are trying to make a name for themselves. You're going to get some guys that are trying to get on Raw. The Titus Worldwides. I feel like I'm just doing a terrible job of naming really talented guys that aren't over. But the Revival. The Revival are kind of having a tough time getting, like, the Revival would dominate SmackDown. Have the tag titles for a grip, really push them well. I'm trying, again, Cesaro is like a guy. What I would do is, I would keep the New Day. I would keep the New Day there. It's kind of like a big pillar, and I would have those guys almost own it. I would have, like, Big E fighting for the championship against a guy like Rusev. Look at all the charisma in a matchup like that. That is so much charisma, Rusev versus Big E. But that's like a mid-card match that people wouldn't even have watched on Sunday Night Heat. It's like a way low, and that's ridiculous. These guys are really talented, and they should get the pushes, and I think the SmackDown should be a platform for a push. I rattle on SmackDown. Think about that idea, though. That's what I'd really like. I have an idea on NXT as well, and I have an idea on how to make NXT's weird, like, collaboration with 205 Live and kind of like a half home of the UK division, if there even is one, and that's to allow NXT to just be a little bit longer. I don't think anybody would be upset with it being a little bit longer, and they don't have to I mean, so much of the stuff that we're watching, like we're probably watching 10 minutes of advertising on the network that's advertising for itself, like that we already pay for. Like we're literally watching the network, and it'll tell us, tune in this Sunday. It's like, I pay for this already, and like it tells for only $9.99. I'm only watching this commercial because I pay that. I don't know. It's kind of goofy. I know that was a bit of a tangent, but yeah, make NXT a little bit longer. Make NXT a little bit longer. We get a little bit more matches. Make these guys. Do you think these guys would have problems with filming on a more regular basis and not being like once a month? I don't think they would. It doesn't need to be live. I'm not asking that. That'd be really difficult to do. I understand there's so many guys that move around and commentators that need to do, but I think that NXT is such a good product. I think that you could put, if you wanted to, you could do away with 205 Live. I wouldn't. I'm really liking where it's going. But you could do some really good stuff with including them in, having NXT plot lines with UK wrestlers. I don't know. I think you could do a lot with it. Just adding a little bit more time to NXT. Just having them do it a little bit more often. And again, we would all absolutely adore it. And get to the point where without commercials, you're getting almost as much wrestling, probably more wrestling than you're getting on a Raw. In NXT almost turning into, quietly, instead of people saying it's like Triple H's own indie circuit, I think it's more like Triple H's own wrestling circuit. It's Triple H having a bunch of wrestling matches that he likes to watch, and that he thinks that we would like to watch as well. Triple H running shit, that's fucking amazing. That's what's making me so happy. And you know what? It's probably the reason why a lot of people who are, I'm guessing some of the celebrity fans are probably fans around the level of me and my buddies. I don't think like I'm that, special of a fan, like I like it that much. That, people that like it casually, that are popular, are way too busy with their popular lives to watch wrestling to the degree that I watch it. That's ridiculous. I think that guys like Rob Gronkowski, who's thinking about signing to the WWE, he might be thinking about signing to the WWE because of how the product has just simply gotten better. I mean, the last few WrestleManias have been pretty okay. They could have done better every single year. We all know that. But they've had their shining moments, and we all know it. And they have so much talent right now. Wrestling right now is doing great. They have competition that's driving them so unbelievably well overseas, and even here at home with Ring of Honor. And some people just like indie wrestling. It's different. It's definitely different. And in the world we live in of contrarians and people that just don't like things just not to like them kind of people, I think it's important to notice how the indie fans are a very real thing and how WWE wants them. And Triple H is doing the kind of stuff to get them. I think WWE is trying to steal a little bit of talent from different parts of the world to get a larger fan base in that part of the world for money, and that should probably calm down. I think that like the whole stint with like pushing gender, and the reason I have a big issue with that is like again, guys like Gronk trying to come to the WWE, guys like what if Kevin Love in the NBA plays? He's a huge wrestling fan. He had like a wrestling belt made, and it looked like the old classic World Heavyweight Championship. The WCW flossed so well. WWE used for a little bit that big gaudy gold one. He's actually the original NWA Heavyweight Championship, but it's a beautiful belt, everybody's favorite. And he had one made for the championship. It's like, do you think guys like Gronk and Kevin Love and do you think that Ronda Rousey are thinking about in the end of their careers extending their careers with signing to the WWE when you make such huge mistakes that cause people not to want to watch, like a Jinder Mahal push? The guy couldn't main event anything. He wasn't ready for it. And they just made an obvious mistake. But I feel like the money that they're making from the good wrestling is better. Like they're making the product that these guys who are big fans, who are big time popular celebrities and whatnot, are enjoying. I don't think Rob Gronkowski is just a fan because he's friends with Mojo Rawley. I don't think that Kevin Love is just Kevin Love looks like somebody who's a fan of wrestling because he's been a fan of wrestling since he was 4. Like, he used to watch The Rock promos and throw air punches in his living room. That's the kind of person he looks like. And people literally, I know it sounds insane. A lot of people haven't thought about Kevin Love wanting to sign with the NBA. I'm like going on elite. But would it be, or with signing with the NBA, signing with the WWE? But would it be insane? They that's what they do. They get stuff like that done. But it's not with trying to be sly and sneaky and trying to get all of the Indian people in the world to like your It's by putting on good main events, good matches, stuff like the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble was absolutely incredible. And it was almost like had moments that were just like touching because the women's stuff, women's revolution. It was really absolutely one of the best pay-per-views I've ever seen in my life. And I think stuff like that is going to get the Ronda Rouseys to want to come and stay, is going to get, the big names that are going to cause more money, and I don't mean just like popular people. Like, that was a topic I wanted to go on, but it's like, do you think Kenny Omega likes watching Shinsuke Nakamura win the title, or win possibly win the title, but win the Royal Rumble? Yeah, he does. Do you think that Kenny Omega is thinking, and that everybody, I don't know what your level of wrestling interest is, but Kenny Omega is the best in the freaking world, hands down. He has let's just skip promos. We're talking about wrestling here. He's unbelievable. He's unbelievable, and that's what the WWE wants, is somebody who's unbelievable. They want a younger AJ Styles, because now they know what they've been missing all this time with the just package of gold, just the massive trunk of gold that is AJ Styles. He's amazing. And I think that being able to pull that talent to the WWE with legitimate good wrestling, you maybe you could have gotten AJ Styles back in the mid early, maybe late 2000s, if you would have just stopped playing around with your product and took it seriously. I think that's the idea. Stop focusing on money. Stop focusing on gain. Stop worrying if the network's succeeding well. Just put on really good wrestling. New Japan is doing great right now in a far, smaller way by just putting on good wrestling. Like a survivable way, though. And WWE is not what everybody loves anymore, because they don't put on great wrestling all the time. It's a big problem. Focusing on the money over the wrestling. All right. So I'm going to get past that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trickle down to UFC really quickly, very, very quickly, because, man, I am thirsty. Conor McGregor, is he done? That's what I'm going to talk about right now. I know there's probably like some UFC event going on tonight that I should be watching. Maybe I'll watch it later. I don't know. But Khabib Nurmagomedov, I usually get it right. I'm telling you. I usually get it right. This time I can't do it. Khabib was saying Conor McGregor's done. He's fought his last fight. And, it kind of looks like that just because of course, the Floyd Mayweather match that made him so much money. And now the only talk is making money again on that degree. So, if he doesn't fight again, because the opportunity's gone, is his legacy gonna be the same as it would have been? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that Conor McGregor's legacy will be the same because of wanting to do it so obviously for the money. Like when he became the number one guy, not wanting to sustain it because he just wanted some dollars. That doesn't make him a bad person. That just dampens his legacy. I've never really liked the guy that much, but he was always a really great draw, a really fun person to watch. That's another guy. Would he sign to the WWE? No, he would not, because he'd have to work all the time. If he signs to the WWE, nothing would shock me more, because that would be so much work, having to learn something from, it almost makes me kind of feel, in my opinion, especially not liking the guy very much, not wanting to like him very much, that Conor McGregor, he was never that good. He was never that good. He never really seemed like he was ever that good. He seemed like he was somebody who was good, who was very, very good. Like, undoubtedly was good. He was good. Oh, Conor McGregor's good. He's knocking boys out. But it's not like he did it for a decade. It's not like he did it for 4 or 5 years. It's like he did it for a little bit. It's like he was notorious for a little bit. And, of course, right when he gets everything that he could have gotten, even with some L's, he gets the fight of his life, he turns away. And oh my God, there's so much talent in his weight class. Tony Ferguson, Khabib. I think this guy Gaethje is the real deal. I'm talking, and that almost makes me wonder: is this a good or a bad thing? In my opinion, Conor McGregor leaving again. I don't like the guy, but I think it's a good thing. Conor McGregor. Okay, it's not news that Conor McGregor's. Nobody has broke the news. Conor McGregor's not going to fight again. But do they need to? When was the last time Conor McGregor fought in the UFC ring? When was the last time that he was fighting on a regular basis? When was the last time that he was fighting on a regular basis with something like Floyd Mayweather? Floyd Mayweather money was put in his pocket. Never. It's not like he just all of a sudden hasn't been fighting for a little while. It's immediately after he makes a whole lot of money. That's when he stops fighting for a while. It hasn't been just a little while. I feel like it's been a grip. I feel like it's been like a year. It's been a while since this guy's been doing it. And to me, again, never really loved watching him fight or anything like that. Never really liked his attitude. But I did like how he pushed people to want to defeat him. And he pushed guys like me to want to watch to see them defeat him. I'm not going to get to see that. So that, maybe it is a bad idea. Maybe it's bad for me. Maybe it's bad for the individual fan. Maybe it would have been a great thing for Conor McGregor to come back and fight these guys and make them look like scrubs if he could have, or lose to. What happens if Conor McGregor comes and he gets his arm snapped by Khabib in the first round? Eagle takes his arm off. Nobody'd be shocked. Don't act like you'd be shocked if you're a UFC fan. You wouldn't be. You'd be like, the guy's a beast. He's a bear fighter. The guy takes everybody down. He's a monster. But would you be shocked if Tony Ferguson went in and gassed him out, popped him with jabs, won the strike count, and then finished him off in the fourth? No. Don't act like you would be. Tony Ferguson's done that to everybody else. A guy who hasn't lost to a Nate Diaz, Nate Diaz, sorry. And Nate Diaz. Say Conor McGregor comes back. What if he loses to Nate Diaz? Huh? Hell, that damn near hurts Floyd Mayweather's career. Okay, what if he comes back and he beats Nate Diaz, huh? She's like, so what? So what? And he would never have that fight again. Okay, Floyd Mayweather takes you out of Nate Diaz. You never fight a Nate Diaz again. I was shocked he was already fighting Nate Diaz's already. But you don't fight a Nate Diaz? You don't? And yes, you do fight a Khabib or a Tony Ferguson. You know what? I bet they'd feed him a guy like Gaethje or something like that. They wouldn't give him Alvarez, right? So I bet they'd feed him a guy like, and Gaethje wouldn't. No, Gaethje would not be fed to Conor McGregor. If you think that a guy like Justin Gaethje would just lay down and not bang with him for 4 or 5 rounds, you know what? I bet Justin Gaethje beats Conor McGregor. People are gonna, UFC fans are gonna hate me, dude. If you're listening to this, I'm so sorry. That's my opinion of it, and that's where I'm gonna end the sports talk. Actually, I'm not. What else am I gonna talk about in sports? Right? I don't know. But what I do want to talk about is Chris Rock, that guy. This Tambourine special on Netflix. It's amazing. It's heartfelt. It's true. It's honest. It's everything I've always imagined comedy being. It's my favorite Chris Rock I've heard in a long time as well. Not just period Chris Rock. I hope people don't disagree with me because I've told so many people it's amazing. I don't want to piss them off or whatever. Yeah, Matt told me it was amazing. I thought it was one of the most boring stand-up bits ever. To me, I was really feeling it. It was something to me. It was so, I don't know, serious. I had no idea that he had had a divorce. I had no idea that the guy had had a tough, year or two of his life. But, just he comes out very clean about his life. I don't want to spoil any part of it for you. But there's just a very real moment where he's talking about what you can do to make your relationship work or not work. And he's telling jokes. So I say very real moment. He's not very serious like he is in different moments of his stand-up at this time. Instead, you just feel it in a very real way. He's that moment where you can relate to a stand-up comedian. It's one of the best moments. And he fills it. He fills the entire, however long, maybe hour-long stand-up routine with it. It absolutely blew me away. I never really thought about Chris Rock as maybe one of the greatest stand-up guys ever. I've just always liked him. So it's I wanted to like it, and I did. And I love the idea of the tambourine that he kind of goes to, forward and backwards on it. He kind of covers this idea really well, thinking that, you got to play the tambourine in the band to be able to get, your relationship working well. You have to sometimes do something you don't want to do, and you have to do it well. You have to do something that you don't want to do, and you have to do a good job at it. That's an important thing that us millennials need to learn. But okay, I'll skip past that. I really liked it. I hope you watch it. But the Black Panther is what I'm going to talk about. I should have written down some points on it because I was watching it. First, I'm just going to open off. I didn't want to like it. Like, not beforehand. I just was going into it. This is getting really, well regarded, and everybody likes it, and I'm excited to see what everybody likes about it. And I asked a couple people, even in the theater when I was buying the ticket, and mostly people were liking it. I just didn't want to like it during the movie. The movie starts off kind of cold. I'm not really a big fan of cold opens. I feel like there's this really weird, throughout the whole movie, and starting from the beginning of the film, the whole film, there's just this weird contrast of reality in terms of visuals and insane comic book culture that you're seeing. And what I mean by that is you're seeing a picture perfect landscape of gorgeous trees and this African safari. It's beautiful, and then you just see this big clunky spaceship looking, pretty much taxi, Black Panther taxi fly over. Black Panther comes down in it. And to me, that happens so often in the film that in every single time I despise it. And those kind of contrasts, I just don't like them in film, period. It doesn't mess with things like pacing. It just messes with my ability to kind of delve into the film. And I think suspending reality kind of needs to be, you kind of got to coerce some people into it. But another idea with the contrasting is I didn't like how, and it was literally written this way for and again, this is going to be so filled with spoilers, just turn it off if you don't want to hear it. But I really didn't like Michael B. Jordan's portrayal. I think he was directed to portray the character in such a way, but he portrays this Oakland raised, very heartbroken African-American man who has very deep, serious royal roots to an African culture that is unknown to man. And I'm just trying to say that in a very serious manner. But I did not like how every single scene that he's in, he's this, I felt a little stupid talking like that, but so should he. It's this kind of goofy, kind of slangy, kind of very urban kind of talk with all of these very proper, very well educated, authoritative in manner, Wakandan, African tribe-esque people. And I don't know. I can't stand when he's on the screen. And I was like, how do you make Michael B. Jordan this charisma oozing actor who's I don't know, the most lovable guy to watch? How do you not like Michael B. Jordan? He seems so cheesy in this film to me. I don't think anybody feels this way. So if you're listening to this and you're just disagreeing with me, everybody's disagreeing with me. That's totally okay. I did not like that at all. I also didn't like scenes where one thing happens and then something very similar happens and it doesn't work out the same way. A scene where anybody who's talked to me about this, who's listening to this, is going to be like, oh, this again. But Black Panther, with his suit on, of course, lays over a grenade, has no effect at all. He gets shot with some kind of, I don't know anything about guns, so I'm just talking about it like that, but some kind of a mortar shell or something, like a rocket launcher kind of esque, shot, and it blows him through a wall 30 feet away. It shoots him relatively close, but what matter? Who cares if it's point blank? He just laid on top of a grenade and he didn't even pop up an inch. And then he gets shot with this thing, and he flies back and goes through a wall and totally deters him from what he's doing. And I was just I don't know, that just doesn't work to me. Either man-made weapons can or can't affect the suit. Let's keep it simple. All right. Also, I didn't like how in Civil War they kind of make it like Wakanda is kind of a relatively well-known nation that a lot of people have, literally there's a building that Wakandans are in, and that's what happens when Scarlet Witch actually blows it up, and that's what all of the accords and the whatever accords they are in Civil War, that's what they're all about. It's what happens to the Wakandans. And then in this movie it's we are 100% secretive. It's no, if there is a political spectrum around this nation, if people are familiar with it, if they have somebody sitting down at a table in the UN, then people have been there for political talks. People have been there to work with the nation. People have been there to either be friend or foe that are familiar with it, that would spread this rumor. And okay, not only I haven't even talked with this about other people, but it literally shows that there's a tribe that is somewhat enemies, and like they're supposed to have honor and things like that. But like, if you have enemies that are within the same area that are like cast out tribes, they would want to tell other people. And like, I'm not talking about like that would have to happen immediately, but like Wakanda has been a secret thing for like 100, I don't even know how many years, a long time, well over 100 years. And nobody ever, if they've been this politically known rather entity in the world, nobody has ever stumbled across Wakanda. It's not like you need some kind of like a magical amulet to cross this border. You just walk through it. You're telling me nobody's ever walked in and walked out and had something to show a camera crew? That is ridiculous. And all they really had to do to fix that was have a fake city. Have some, again, this is Disney controlling the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They can do whatever they want. They can change, they can rewrite. Continuity is not a problem for them. They don't need to stick to comic books, okay? They don't. But I had a lot of little nitpicky issues like that around the film. There's a moment, again, spoilers, there's a moment where Martin Freeman's character, I think that's his name, Martin Freeman, he's like about to be killed in this simulated pilot thing where he's like, I don't even want to describe it, but he should have died, and him not dying was weak, and it felt like him dying would have almost been like in this really depthy way, this last fight scene, this very obvious 3-act film, like only had one way to go the whole time. Such an obvious film to watch and figure out. Like, everything comes in such an obvious pattern. Nothing ever throws me off at all about this movie at all. And but the end, they are including this idea, this like very depthy idea, a very powerful idea revolving around race, where it's like almost involving this, to me, maybe I'm crazy, but involving this idea of like black on black crime, involving this idea of overcoming this massive hurdle of not agreeing, like a political idea that it's covering, and also with this little bit from Martin Freeman showing that other races have actually, sacrificed things for themselves to be able to help in this effort, and like kind of bringing a closeness together with different races, like white and black, for example, like, a togetherness. And I liked that while I was watching it. I was really getting into, and stuff like Martin Freeman not dying was just for no reason. Like, he's not going to be a big deal. If he is, there's no reason to make him a big deal. You can have any character be a big deal and do what Martin Freeman needs you to do. His character is not that important, and it could have been. It could have been very important. I think he was designed to die in that scene. They just changed him. Mind. That's what it felt like when I was watching. But there's moments where there's a character in it who's supposed to be this like big love interest to Black Panther, where she's like constantly talking about how she has like very little military training, and she's kind of like all the people in Wakanda can kick ass, right? But she's like a subpar ass kicker, you know what I mean? And she the whole time talks about how she's not a warrior. It doesn't build it up like she is a warrior at heart, It doesn't build it up like that. It's just like, she's like, I ain't a warrior, dude. And then she ends up totally, working over for a little bit. Michael B. Jordan's character, his name is, I'm not too familiar with Black Panther comic books. I'm a comic book guy, but I don't remember much about Black Panther comic books. But his name is Eric Killmonger. Oh my gosh, what a terrible villain name. Eric Killmonger. Ugh. Anyways, it works him over for a bit after, of course, he's done unbelievable feats. And she doesn't have, and he has this like Black Panther serum, and he's supposed to be like super strong and super intelligent and super fast. And she like works him for a bit, like shows way too much progress in an action scene with him. And again, people listen to that and be nitpicky all you want. Whatever. It was dumb. I was watching it and I thought that it was stupid. I thought that the ending fight scene was so The dialogue in it was the best bit. Is these like characters dialogue with one another. Literally, the drama around the fighting was the best part. The fighting wasn't that great in the end. Like the best scene for action is a scene where Black Panther's hunting down Andy Serkis's character, who's a fucking money. Doesn't last long enough in the film, to be honest. But there's a scene where Black Panther and this Killmonger character are fighting, and there's supposed to be these lights that are pulling away, and they set it up, somewhat well. Again, so obvious that they were going to do it though. And it's like affecting their abilities and whatever. It's like messing with the metals, and it doesn't even end up affecting it all that much. I know I sound like I hated the movie. I had a lot of fun with the movie, but it's a Marvel movie. I'm going to have fun with it no matter what. To me, and the honest God's truth is, it wasn't as good as Homecoming. Homecoming was smarter. It had a better trick to it in the end. It pulled the rug out from under you. It wasn't as good as Civil War because it just wasn't as fun. And I couldn't oversee the issues that I could find with it because of how fun it was. I don't know. The Winter Soldier was just a better film. People are talking about it's like 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? If a DC film had released a movie with those kinds of problems, people would have picked them out from thin air. I did not watch a review and steal those ideas that I disliked about it. No, there were just moments that I just legitimately didn't like it. And there's like a whole bunch of them that I could go on and on and on and on. Like every single scene had something in it that I was just like, this could be done better. This could truly be done better. And I don't know, there was just there was an aura around the film where maybe I wasn't ready to take it seriously because of how many jokey and very comical films have been released in these Marvel films, but I just expected a lot from it. And I don't think that's a bad thing to do. I don't think I'm wrong for expecting a lot out of the movie, but I don't think I got what I expected out of it. And that's why I'm being harsh on it. The film was fun as hell. It was awesome in that regard. It's I love Lethal Weapon because it's fun as hell. This movie is a hell of a lot more fun than Lethal Weapon. So it's I guess I love this movie. I don't know. I'm so torn. But I just want to be hard on it. People aren't hard enough on Marvel films. Honest to God's truth about it. I talk shit about contrarians half the time not liking something because it's not the popular thing to like. And then I turn around and hate on Black Panther because I'm a hater who doesn't want to like what other people like. But I don't know. To me, in the moment, I wanted to enjoy it and just had an issue with it. So hopefully this time, I kind of thought that this was going to be like a 50-minute to an hour-long thing. If you have any critiques, just be fucking honest. If you just hate wrestling, don't tell me that. I'm going to talk about wrestling. But I can talk about it separately. I can talk about NBA separately. If you want to complain about how you could hear my dog being an asshole halfway through, that sucks. I guess I can't stop that. But yes, any suggestions? If you want me to break it apart, tell me. Should I break it apart? Should I have individual segments? Or should I do it this lazy way and just have a big spew of things so you can just listen to me talk a whole lot while you do whatever you do? But thanks for listening. I'm done talking.